back. This is my final grade and final comments for the Call of Duty Infinite Warfare beta and the game as a whole as I may see it. Maybe some future predictions and so on and so forth.
I count
right now, current status of it.
We should have 32.
I'm just going to say from the first impression of the time that I first logged onto this game, after receiving the code, to now, I am not impressed with this game. This game is not what it was slated to be, commercialized or not. The campaign's probably good, going to be good. I mean, I could see where it would be pretty fun, you know. But like I was saying before, there's a lot of problems with them still continuing on with the futuristic package and all this other nonsense that most consumers don't want to deal with. Yeah, Atelius, I will get to you, buddy. Let's move on to the weapons. And what I was saying before in the last video is in the armory, and thanks to Atelius Rocks, who has a channel of his own, you might want to check his channel out. You can upgrade these with specific points that you earn. That would be the gear shaped. If you look up to above where it says the NV4 Fallout, if you look above that where handgun, you see the gear, and then it shows me as 1247. If you can get to 1600, you get this gun with those two abilities, which is nuclear and stability, which it gives you advanced placement with the weapon instead of having to just try and go through the quartermaster here and get them through the supply drops. So you can expect that same. You can expect that same thing. Where that's going to be the case. Most people are going to want to actually use their salvage points rather than the supply drop. However, of course, it's going to be a micromanagement with it where you can go and pay on your credit card and debit, as I said before in other videos, to buy microtransactions like this and get, 100 or so supply drops and get all these weapons and so on and so forth. As you can see now, I just opened up the one gun here that the ERAD, this one right here. So I got the Merciless of that, which actually comes from Stockpile and Refresher, which actually look like pretty good abilities. So I'll definitely lock that up in there. But so I tested out a lot of the weapons. I liked most of the weapons, but as you play on longer and you start getting killed by specific weapons, the more people use the specific weapons, the more you find out that there are still specific weapons that are way better than other weapons. So the weapons are not as balanced as people proclaim in recent other videos. But you got to understand the distinguishing difference between me as a YouTuber and someone else as a YouTuber that is not famed versus those that are famed. And that distinguishing difference is the fact that I'm not trying to promote a fucking product to receive some better service from someone else. So you do have these people who, like Ollie A, Drifter, these famous YouTubers that actually get these games free to test and play for them and are sponsored by these game makers and whatnot, and their base purpose is to give them a grade but lie to you about what's good and what's not in this game. They're basically a promoter for the game. Noah J is a huge one too. Dalek is another one. So that is the huge difference. I have no reason to lie to you about my specific analysis of these games. It's just my opinion, and I'm going to be different than other people. I honestly did not like this game so far from the beta, from one to the next. There's a lot of things that need to be fixed. And we'll go back to weapons in just a minute because I want to talk about the hit detection in this game, which I saw where so many kill cams, the person wasn't even was not aimed with the sight, the crosshair sight on the actual person, but was still getting hit markers. That sometimes is ping issue, and we've already talked about that. But there are other issues with it to where it's not pinged issue when it's in a consistent motion and it's consistently being done. There's something wrong with the hit detection in the game, and it definitely needs to be refined and fixed. It's one thing that I hope they fix before the game comes out in, a couple weeks? A few other things in regards to that seem to bother me is hit detection with the aim assist. There is a slight aim assist still in this game, and you can see it with people who have been good at quick scoping in the past. They know how to figure that out real slightly and manipulate it to their advantage. And so that tells me a couple of things when it comes to weapons. It's going to be just like the last 5 Call of Duties, where shotguns and sniper rifles are going to basically run the gauntlet of the gaming system. It's just the same thing over. And if they continue on this road like this, there's absolutely no reason whatsoever to even create any other guns. You're going to be constantly at a disadvantage, and that's not fair for everybody else in the game. You know, it doesn't matter how good you are with an SMG or whatever, or how quick your movement is. I mean, if you're facing a good enough player with a shotgun, he's still going to outshoot you in one shot. The same thing with a sniper. If he's good enough to quick scope you before you can even reach him with a SMG, you're kind of fucked still. You know? It's damned if you do, damned if you don't. So I don't like that direction that is continually going on with Call of Duty. The other thing with this in regard to the assist, aim assist and hit markers is the motion of your player as you're moving around about the game and the maps is not as fluent as it used to be. It's not as smooth. It's more like you're walking around in water on a constant basis, just faster. You know, it almost seems like there's a consistent lag. Oh yeah, that does include the hard scopes. Good point, Italius. Yeah. There constantly seems to be a lag in your motion from when you're looking to. And I was playing on Insane 20, the highest level of sensitivity that you can actually play on. Now, if I was actually really play the game, I would lower that to about 13, and then adjust it from that point on. But I was solely trying to do it to try and get used to that movement and the motion barrier that is totally different than what you're used to in other Call of Duties. I don't know if that's going to be a benefit later on. I don't know if it's worth it later on to even scope that out and see if it's going to be something positive for you as you progress in the game and get better at the game. I suspect maybe, but I suspect that they're not using a formidable change of technology here. I don't think that they're advancing the technology. I think that Activision and all these companies are just recycling the same shit, the same platforms. All they're doing is creating new designs of things on top of it. And I think that that's what they're doing because there's specific things that have never changed in these games. And that is what we're talking about here. With guns and you know, the specific guns that people will end up using and why they'll end up using them. The motion with those guns on top of that, and how they negate specific abilities such as, you know, it doesn't matter if you have quick draw. On the ping system, it just doesn't matter. It's going to negate you using quick draw if the connection is not, and the ping is at a large difference between you and the other player. And this is why like I said before, many people from the motion of MW3 and the first conversation of MW3 came out that they would move from that system, connection-based system, to designated servers. Um, yeah, but still, Raven is not giving them um, the benefit of making a better game, Atelius. That's the problem with these Call of Duties, is that they're just the same shit being recycled. And Raven ain't producing anything different for any of these games. They're all just the same thing, which is just really sad because I want more out of Call of Duties because I love playing Call of Duties. You know? Yeah, prone dolphin dives, right. But it's still the same. Now you got the slides and the weird movements, you know, and so on. The super jumps, the glides, you know, the jumping glides, the running along fucking walls. You know, it's just the same stuff. They're really not abilities that are useful. They're not really abilities that are going to advance a player in a competitive way, except for when you're using shotguns or you're a back player where you can jump and you can quick scope, but you can do both with those. Otherwise, if there's a delay in time at all whatsoever, anything but a quick scoping sniper rifle and a shotgun are going to be at least 2 to 4 shots behind a shotgun and a sniper rifle. And that's part of the problem. You know, they give you perks to try and take advantage of that, and that's great too. And those do become helpful, you know, to a point. Um, um, Also, famous YouTubers acting in Infinite Warfare and campaign because I watched his video. What do you mean by acting? Like he's in part of the acting part of the game? Like he's a character in the game? Is that what you mean? The campaign or? Yeah, give me an explanation of that comment, Atelius. That'd be great, buddy. Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. See, that's what I'm saying. And they're just all about promoting the game. What else can I say about this game? I do like the facts that they stayed with the score streaks. Instead of changing it like Infinite Warfare loved to only have the kill streaks instead of the score streaks. And so I'm glad Treyarch introduced that, and now everybody else is following in suit with that because it gives you an advantage when you play objective games like Domination, especially competitively with a clan. Well, that's good to know, Italius. Thank you. Um, so, in the history of the Call of Duty games, it has been pretty much mass majority, if you will, or if that's what you want to call it. I don't know. That they to use a point system to allow people who use and play the game strategically to that advantage of being able to obtain score streaks. It also elevates the level of play in the game because you don't always have to be just a kickback camper shooter, good shooter. You actually have to move now, play the objective, and shoot. So it encourages that, and that's a plus for the game. And that's something that hopefully they keep. Another thing that is very strange about the game that I found so far on these maps are they're all the same as before other maps. They're all designed the same. They're square based with just a couple of directional things, pathways, access points to specific things. I do not like the one map where B is in the middle and it's open, and it has 5 different directions to go to. I think that's just poor design. That's just me, but I believe it's poor design. It's the one with the ice on it, the snow. Um, so I think that they could kick back and make the maps a lot better and less cluttered. Um, I ran into a few problems with the cluttering in the maps that we were playing, even on Terminal, where there's an object in your way when you're trying to jump sideways and you jump into the object because you're too close to the fucking object. But when you're running fluently through the map, it always feels uncomfortable trying to move around that same object. Case in point, in the middle hallway, a terminal between the two posts, pathways to A and B, there is those little box things in that hallway where people can hide behind and whatever. Tactically, that's all fine. I understand tactical movement, whatever. But that being there and having to move around it, and then there's an open space there and a doorway where somebody can crouch behind, or even come out of an area and shoot you while you're trying to unexpectedly, and you can't even move to defend yourself before you're shot already because they will have first line of sight before you have line of sight. Let's see. At least there are boots on the ground. Zombies on IW. Yeah, Italius, but we didn't get the opportunity to actually play the zombies, which I would have loved to play, but didn't have the opportunity to. So, with that being said, I still don't know if they're even going to allow clans, if there's any support for clans on here or not. I don't know. So, I don't see thrusters either, Italius. My final comment on this game is, if they do not change the direction they're going, Call of Duty is going to fail as a gaming series from this point on. Next year, when Sledgehammer comes out with another game at this time, I guarantee you it's going to have another quarter of the fans not purchase the game outright or pre-order or anything else. I know, like I told you, I'm the only one out of this play group who actually did that with this Infinite Warfare. So I suspect even less for the next one, if it's commercialized beforehand as a futuristic game with the same direction and nonsense that they're going to. Okay? Well, in order to make it different, Italius would have to be a completely different game, I think. I don't think that they would move so far as to make it a complete different game. You know? Yeah, then advance. Yeah, that's, yeah. I gotta definitely say, Advanced Warfare was definitely the last one that I enjoyed playing. And that was still a little bit too futuristic for me. But it was still good to some point. So my grade from this beta is definitely a D. There's a lot of improvement that needs to be made. The hit detection has got to change. It's got to be more precise. It needs to be more refined. Well, Talis, I'm just talking about the Infinite Warfare game. I'm not talking about the modern or World of War or the zombies. I haven't tested those out as of yet. But when I do, I'll definitely be posting a video for that. So if they changed all that stuff and they actually balanced the guns out, I think this game could definitely be a C, maybe even a C plus. But I wouldn't give it any more. Italius, great minds think alike, my friend. He says a C plus too. I agree with that. It could definitely move up to a C plus, I think, if the changes were made. I don't see it being any better than that. I'm still going to get on and play it from time to time. I'm still going to be a Destiny player, and I'll be rocking Battlefield 1 here shortly too. Metallus, you should check that game out, dude. Battlefield 1 is amazing. It's really a cool game. So with no further ado, man, I appreciate the support, and enjoy the game when it comes out in 2 weeks. And I'll be back in the next few days with some more kick-ass vids for y'all. Thank you, Talius. I'll hit you up, man, on YouTube, dude.